This video is sponsored by Wing Wing Technology, your ultimate flight sim hardware solution.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. Today we're doing the 5th in the series of ACM videos comparing different 4th gen jets. Today we've got what for me is probably the most exciting, it's the one I've been mostly looking forward to, the mighty F-16C versus the MiG-29, and we're going to be using the S variant for this, two of my favourite 4th gen fighters. So, in this video we're going to talk about first the experiment. Second, we're going to look at the kinematics and the weapons of each aircraft. Third, we're going to make our predictions. Fourth, we're going to run our dogfights and watch 5 of them. And then finally, we'll do a summary, which is the best dogfighter. Quickly looking at the experiment, to get the data that's required, the guys have run 39 dogfights, 1v1 F-16 versus MiG-29S, and what we do is, to keep things as fair as possible, is we vary the pilots between each round so that we mix the pilots up as much as we can to remove as much bias as we can. That wasn't entirely possible. For instance, this was a really difficult one because we don't have many good pilots in the MiG-29. We've got lots of F-16 pilots, so Tail was doing a lot more of his share in the MiG-29, but it's the best we can do for today. The results are blanked because we're not going to see them till later. Here are some comments. Here are some times that are of no interest to you. The full final results again are blanked out, and the pilots today were Penguin, Bear, Spectre, Squirrel, Tail, and Skill.
One of the things that is important is that we have various different skill levels, and it's aimed at everybody, not just the top echelon of dogfighters. It's aimed at beginners, intermediates, advanced, and obviously the pros.
This is exactly right. So we're trying to cover the whole spectrum rather than just getting an expert in this plane and an expert in this plane, because that wouldn't cover what those planes will actually be doing out there on those multiplayer servers and so on. Okay guys, next let's blast over the kinematics and the weapons. Really equally matched in weapons. Both have Hobbs. One's got a AIM-9X, one's got an R-73. Not much difference between them except one's smoked and one's not. Both got helmet mounted displays with roughly the same amount of coverage. The MiG-29's got EO and the F-16 hasn't, but I'm not sure how much that's going to come into play today anyway. So they're more or less equal on that stand in terms of ACM. Kinematics as well, we're probably going to find they're relatively similar. Low altitude speed, F-16 can do 860 knots, Mach 1.3. The MiG-29A, which is slightly different from the S, but only fractionally, Mach 1.25, so very similar there. High altitude speed, for what it's worth, Mach 2.83 with the MiG-29 and 2.01. Now, that's where it starts to fall apart a bit for the Flaming Cliffs 3 planes, of which category this MiG-29 falls into. The high altitude speed drags just aren't right. We all know that can't do Mach 2.8. Let's not dwell on it and carry on. Low altitude acceleration, 300 knots to 650 cruise speed. F-16 takes 15.12 seconds, 15.14 seconds for the MiG-29, basically identical in terms of low altitude accelerations, which is very rare on these lineups that we've been doing. High altitude acceleration, 300 to 650 cruise speed. Knots, 21.68 for the F-16, 23.83. The MiG-29 starts to underperform when you get it up to high altitude, Angels 15 and above. Climb rate from QR rate 0 knots up to 20,000 MSL. F-16 52.83 seconds, amazing climb rate. MiG-29 a little less, 57 seconds. Climb rate from a rolling start of 600 knots. It reverses the MiG-29A. It wins at 24.6 and 24.7 for the F-16, so nearly identical. Really important ones are the next two. Max sustained turn rate on the deck, with, in this case, 50% gas and drag index equals 0. MiG-29 averaging 450 knots can achieve 21 degrees per second. The F-16 400 to 440 at 20 degrees a second. Slightly better is the MiG-29 at high speed then. Max sustained angle of attack in a tight turn. Really important. The king of this is, of course, the Hornet. As we know, we can keep that nose very high angle of attack and controllable. MiG is the best here at 25 degrees. The F-16, the best it can do at 195 CAS, is 23 degrees. Next, sustained altitude has no bearing on today, but out of interest, F-16C 65,000, MiG-29A 60,000. And onto the roll rates, that is important in a dogfight as well. at 300 knots near the deck, aileron only, or roll only I should say. F-16 can manage 173 degrees per second, which is relatively good. The MiG-29 really sluggish, 125 degrees per second. So for whatever reason, how realistic it is I don't know, but it's a slow roller, and that will have an effect in these dogfights. Roll only, 600 KTAS on the deck. F-16 belch up to 217 degrees per second, one of the best in the game. MiG-29A actually gets worse with a higher speed for no reason why that is, but 92 degrees per second, again, it's probably going to be problematic. Finally, roll plus rudder, F-16C 201 degrees, and MiG-29 148 degrees. It's still pretty poor to be honest compared. So those are the kinematics. Onto the predictions, guys. From your understanding, what are your predictions going to be in ACM, Hob, and or guns fight?
For me, F-16 all the way.
Because
it's my baby. I gotta love it. I mean, the MiG-29 was built to fight against it, so they should be close. I would still go with F-16.
I would say the 21 in like the guns fight, but it loses in the Hobbs fight.
Right, and why would that be?
Simply enough, the R73 has like a worse performance than the A9X.
I'd go with roughly the same style.
Instrumentation in the 16 being more sophisticated with speed on the helmet and things like that should have to play an advantage.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a bit more agricultural on the MiG-29. Fine. I'm still really looking forward to it. These, at least the kinematics, look for a really interesting fight. So, we will kick off. The fights we've shown are Fight 12, Fight 15, Fight 18, Fight 34, and Fight 39. We've just picked those out of highlights for this. So let's get on with Fight 12, Guns Only, Penguin F-16 versus Tail MiG-29. Angels 20, everything we're keeping as comparable as possible. Tail Mach 1.15, Penguin 0.9697. You can say the EK is their kinetic energy there, much more on the MiG S at the moment. Tail's a little high, probably, oh there he goes, you've seen him.
We decided as a rule that we were not taking head-on shots.
Oh, right, that's interesting, and probably good. Now, the reason I agree with that is because, as we know, head-on shots are always a bit random, aren't they? You kind of turns into a 50-50.
Exactly. That's one of the main reasons for it. It's luck if you hit it to an extent, and we defined a head-on shot as both aircraft should have a gun solution or a close enough gun solution. It's not a strict 3-9 line.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We know when it is. This is really interesting. Complete opposites from both fighters. So Penguin's gone high, and he's just about, his Angel's 30, 250 CAS. Tail has gone low and kept extremely fast, basically transonic by the looks of it. Okay, so Penguin's on his perch and he's dropping down now. Do you guys see each other at this point? I'm guessing so.
Yeah, I can see him from here.
Roger. Penguin's dropping down. Tail's belting up. Transonic. And remember, this is a guns fight, so no Hobbs, hence going up and perching over is, completely valid tactic.
Basically, my thought is to drag the F-16 as low as possible, since personally, I like low altitude fights much more.
Roger. Also, the MiG-29 is a lot more suited for low altitude fight. I don't know if you guys ever get down to the deck, but you'll find that MiG-29 really comes alive down there, whereas the F-16 doesn't improve that much. Okay, so this is interesting. So Penguin's resisted the urge to just kind of dive down on him. What's the thinking behind that? You're just trying to keep above him and slow him down?
I'm just trying to keep him up in the air. I don't want him to drag me down to the deck, pretty much.
Yeah, right. And so you're going to he's keeping up here and is controlling the fight, keeping the MiG up at Angel's 20 where it doesn't really want to be, and that's fine. That's the driver's prerogative. Tail is struggling. It's on full burn, I imagine, but there's only so much power we can get out of the engines at the end of the day. And he's also doing well to keep behind Penguin. That's a good thing, and it may pay off dividends here. We'll see. Although he is very slow. In fact, they're both slow. That's a possible shot from Tail's solution, maybe. In fact, he may go on his tail here.
Basically, my plan is to get securely on his 6 and then take the shot, not randomly try to fire way too early.
Well, you've done it there. However, possible overspeed here. I didn't see it coming. Nice. Classic forcing of the overshoot there. So let's just have a look at the speed. So Penguin's probably bunged his brakes on. He's launched the Alpha up to 20 degrees. Tail, I guess you just didn't see it coming.
Yeah, exactly. I was totally not expecting that.
Roger. And you can kind of see where Tail realises what's happening, by which point, it's Delta 250 knots. It's not going to happen. Good reversal there. I like it when it works like that. Also, one other slight problem I think of the MiG is that I'm not a fan of the old revolver cannon. I like a shotgun M61. Especially, I think it helps in scenarios like this where you can just spray. You've got so much ammo, you just spray all over the place. Whereas you've got to be kind of really accurate with the revolver, haven't you?
Yep.
Off we go. Right, so now Penguin's in the driver's seat. What can Tail do? He's going high. He's put his burners on and he's escaping. He's doing it well. It's going over. Possibly going to go into scissors. No. Penguin's not playing ball.
You look at my airspeed there. I'm quite low as well. So it's just not going to pull the 16.
I was going to say, we have to remember we're up here at Angel's kind of 15 to 20. So these planes are not. Snapshot from Tail. We are in vertical scissors. Are they going to play ball? It looks like it. Both very slow on the F-16, which is actually what you want here in scissors, because it's going to force the other guy to extend in front of you. And a possible solution from Penguin now. So many reversals in this match, I've lost count. Solution. Miss. So they've each had a kind of snapshot now. Tail's got really slow, but he's actually got... He's having a little bit of trouble here, I think, because he's down at 90 knots. And I know one thing, that plane does not like accelerating from that kind of speed, but we'll see. So he's forced Penguin out in front. Because he's so slow, there's no way he can take a shot. He's got no real control over the nose at the moment.
Basically, I wanted to just get Penguin off me.
Roger.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
And then if I lose my energy, well, I will attempt to regain it, of course.
Roger. So it is this classic who can go slow. We've got 60 knots from Penguin.
Yeah, I think that was me messing up there as well, because I should have really rolled over and come back down him because he was slow. I should have noticed that, but
Roger. Okay, Penguin has managed to get behind because Penguin did the hump, did the vertical extension, while Tail didn't manage a vertical extension there. In that case, Tail has accidentally got out in front, which is a bit of a problem. I think Tail seems to have got stuck in that massive high angle of attack, 30 degrees that plane hates to be in, whereas the F-16 seems to handle it a bit better, and I think is a sitting duck now. There's nothing you can do at 100 knots, and yep. Really good match there, guys. So the things ready to know. So it was a tactician's game. Blue was trying to get red up. Red was trying to get blue down, where their planes are better. Red gets a solution, but blue does a classic force the overshoot, break and force the overshoot into vertical scissors. And the F-16 just performs better in the vertical scissors. It looked there. It was great. Anything you guys want to add to that match?
Basically, I just made a mistake by like slowing down way too much.
Roger. Next round, Penguin, MiG-29, Transonic, and Spectre F-16, and he's Transonic 2. Off we toot. And Merge, I expect them both to go up, and they have. Right. So, because we're probably not in one circle here, especially because we can't do heads-on, it's going to be more of a tactician's game rather than, you know, who can snap the nose round quicker. Because they're probably not going to be allowed to fire at each other due to the gentleman's agreement, but we'll see. Got over the top. Now, purely out of interest, who's sustained the better EK? Exactly the same, both 2000 EK. I knew these fighters are so well matched. Okay, off they go. I like Penguin's a bit more aggressive thinking there. He's kept the half stick on, whereas Spectre's extended. And gone completely non-aggressive. I'm almost wondering if he's lost sight of red, which happens because he's slow as well.
I think he bled quite a lot of his energy coming through the vertical in the first merge. So.
Roger. And that MiG-29 is all over him now. And their co-speeds, their co-EKs. I think Red's just biding his time. It's in the lead pursuit now, so I think it's going for a snapshot. You can see the ball sight vector out in front of the blue aircraft. Blue's trying something. Okay, he's jinking because gunfire. Red's closing up for a kill. Got to watch out for the overspeed here. And it was a... Is that the kill? No. Yes. Is that a kill? I'm not sure it was.
I think that was only hits, that one.
Right. I'm going to go back and look at that again. We had massive overspeed from Red. It's a bit unlucky because they're 30mm rounds, aren't they? Usually one will open a plane up completely. Let's see what happened there. So it's just jinking, basically. And slowed him down all the way down to 200 knots. Which is easy at Angels 23, obviously. And Red capitalised it and is unlucky not to get a kill. Okay, fine. So Red's going to go high and yo-yo, presumably. The Blue needs to sort himself out now. Which he's not really doing. So Red's going to get a possible another snap now. He's not responding. He's not going into scissors. He's just flying along, basically. Okay, I think... Good control there from Red to allow Blue to keep out in front of him, and it's just an easy kill. Blue didn't really seem to fight through that. Watch the end again just very quickly. So look at Red controlling this, controlling his dive to make sure that he doesn't get ahead of Blue. It's a pretty easy kill at the end there. Okay, fine. I've got nothing really to say to that one, to be honest. Anything you guys want to add to that? Good control from the Red pilot. Good, and the plane seemed to serve him well. That's all I've got.
Initially, with the fights, fuel was a problem for both aircraft. There was at least 2 times that both aircraft ran out of fuel, so everyone learned quite quickly that we needed to be conservative on the fuel, use it when needed and when necessary. It's but so far it was very evenly matched to this point.
Yep, seems so. Yep, lovely. Right, we're going to move on to match 18. Stand by.
we needed to call the professional in to see
Right. So
how he does it.
Squiddle's come in with the F16 here, so he's kind of top of the skill level. Let's have a good look. Tail, so guns only again. Tail, Transonic, Squiddle, right on the border there. Squiddle's probably going to do a power climb, I imagine. That's pretty much his MO. And he's not. Interesting. He's just doing a thumping great extension. Oh no, he's not. He's doing 9G. My bad. Tail with a more modest 6G. Does anyone know if it's got a G limiter on the MiG-29? I can't remember.
It's more like a aerodynamic limiter. It's not like a proper G limiter, I would say.
Okay. They're going to get themselves in a situation
But I'm
with
not
head-on.
certain.
Roger. Okay, so no real solution from either of them. And we're fast here. We're one's supersonic and one's transonic, pretty much. So it's a fast fight so far. Tail's going down to get big speed. In fact, they've both got big speed. Okay. So they're both quite aggressive. They're both pulling their nose towards each other all the time. Tail's over the top. You know what, Squiddle? One thing I'm learning for Squiddle is he doesn't mind extending away a bit. He's quite happy to put some distance between him and the... Whereas me, I'm always trying to wrap that nose round, always trying to keep the guy under pressure, whereas Squiddle's happy to let him out like this.
If I recall what he was saying at this point was that he felt that the MiG-29 was beating him in the one circle.
Yep.
And he needed to make a plan to change that scenario. So
Roger.
he then moved into a new idea, a new strategy.
Yeah, and which is one that F-16 is really good at, which is when the F-16 unloads and gets low drag, you can see how quickly he's accelerated up to 440 knots. And poor old Tail, trying to keep his nose on Squiddle, has got himself in trouble all the way down to 250 knots. So it looks like he's playing the high energy fight of trying to kind of almost go round Tail and stall him out and get him in trouble like that. Well, I may have it wrong. Let's see where we go with this. But it looks like Tail's going to get slower and slower, and Squiddle's going to get faster and faster. And then probably Squiddle will convert that. We'll see. Yeah, see, Tail's trying really hard to keep his nose on blue, whereas Blue's making no real effort to keep his nose on red. Just interesting way of flying. Extending out again.
But yeah, especially in a guns environment, that tactic is like clearly the superior one, I would say, because it gives you so much more breathing room.
Roger. Also, he's under no real threat. He knows you're at 250 knots. He knows you can't accelerate uphill. And he knows you haven't got a missile. So he can bop along up here all time, for as long as he wants, and just wait for his moment to drop down.
Yeah, exactly. That's like basically his like very, very smart play, which put him at the very, very highest top.
Roger. And it looks like it's going to crescendo here because Squiddle's gone all the way up at pretty much Mach 1. And he's done that by just keeping his aircraft unloaded and full power. And poor old Tail, trying to keep his nose on him, has just run out of legs. And Squiddle's going to go over. And when he's ready, when he sees Tail basically not moving anymore, I think he's going to plop over. He's being patient, watching. Under no threat at the moment. And decided that the Tail is literally almost in a tail slide now. It's going to pop over. And how is he going to convert it to get on his 6-0? That's the interesting thing. Nice. So he's watched Red, watched him. When Red shows his tail, that's when he dives down. So that was patience. That was really good flying there. Enjoyed that. And Tail's a dead man now. He's got everything against him. All he can do maybe is high alpha, brakes on and try brake check and overshoot. But as good as not going to miss. Or is he? Is he? Oh, it's missed. Right, how interesting. Okay, reversal. Tail is... Oh, no, he was hit. Right, my bad. So, both on the border, transonic, supersonic. Merge. Spectre down, tail lateral slash down. Let's check out those rates. Turn rate 18 degrees a second, turn rate 16 degrees a second. So it looks like Blue's getting there first. And he's got a missile off really quickly. Oh, no, he didn't. I was going to say that was a bit quick. Pre-flares out from tail. Can he get that? Are you struggling to get the 73 on? How's the 73? I haven't used that for years.
Basically, I had no launch solution until I think at the last moment.
Roger.
Which was a real shame.
Because a launch solution from an F-16 or an F-18 is really easy from any, up to kind of 80 degrees or something like that. I'm guessing it's just harder with an FC3 plane.
Yeah, exactly. I think it has a smaller cone, especially on the sides.
Right.
Because basically my mistake was to go like neither level were down. It was like a half turn, simple enough.
Roger.
Which meant that I got a very, very bad cone for the R-73 launch, which meant I couldn't really get a solution there.
Because that AIM-9X will look pretty much anywhere. A really amazing thing. I think what I need to do is to do a test to check what coverage both missiles have. Because by the looks of things here, he's just got 30 degrees extra of coverage on his hob, whereas you need to really get your nose round on him, which makes it impossible, basically. Okay.
Yeah, very challenging at least.
Yeah, and you've tried flaring, but yeah, okay. It's a very difficult thing to beat, especially when your nose isn't turned into that missile.
Yeah, exactly. One more thing that's like very, very important to like say here, the like AIM-9X almost have no missile smoke compared to the R-73, which means that you have to really, really squeak your eyes to like even spot that AIM-9X flying towards you.
Roger. Yeah. So A, it's harder to see if he's fired it. B. And the thing that really makes a difference for me is the Russian missiles. Seeing that trail, you can see exactly what they're doing. If they're leading towards you or if they're going for the flares or whatnot. With the AIM-9X, until it's hit you, it's very hard to know or missed you. That is very disconcerting. I think just superior technology there. Assuming everything's modeled correctly, it's just superior technology with that hob and helmet mounted display. Okay, let's see if we can drag it back. Let's go to match 39 hob. Penguin F-16 on the border, tail, wow, but massively supersonic. In the MiG, trying something different this time, I think. I might even go vertical with that much. What's he going to do? He is going vertical. How about that?
Indeed, a good call there.
Yeah,
Except.
For me, I've always been told no for a hob match vertical, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I know. Basically, I said this time I'm going to like try something new.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I went into the vertical, which I wouldn't recommend 9 out of 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
But it gave me much better turn radius
It really has.
as I stalled over.
I mean, that's one advantage. Obviously, he's up to 3k turn radius. You're at basically half of that, 1800 turn radius. Thumping great alpha on you. Your turn rate's diminished now, but I think you've actually achieved a slightly better turn rate, so you've got round quicker as well. Now you've got gravity with you as well. Let's see what happens here. Again, and look at those, like a parallel those Boresight vectors are. They've basically achieved exactly the same thing, and a perfect S, as you can see. It's really going to be up to technology now. Who's going to get that lock quicker and get that hob off? You can see pre-flares from Penguin. Neither have got the lock yet. And Tail's got one off. Let's see how that missile bends. Wasn't hugely off Boresight, but that's going to be a hit and a kill. Nice. Nice. Equaled it out. And Penguin, I'm guessing you were still on burn at that point because you were going up, right?
Yeah, I'd come off the burner just as he's launched that, but obviously it's not going to do much because it's cooling down and everything like that,
Yeah,
the
right.
engine. So at that, it's pretty much game over. So
Yeah, right. And then the problem is because he's going up, he doesn't have a great deal of control of his jet at the moment, where to beat a missile, you really want to be kind of lateral and barrel rolling and have good control of the jet. So it's just unlikely that you're going to be able to miss it. It would have been much easier for Tail to dodge that missile because he's coming down, he could have just nipped that engine off and retained control of the jet.
Yeah, which it was already at this point, as I was tipping over. It was all the way throttled back.
Well, that's
basically.
an interesting idea, isn't it? You can go up, pin the nose back, and then just glide down. And for a hob fight,
You also have the advantage of the sun behind you.
right? Yep, that's always going to be a thing.
it's
Interesting.
also like say in my defence as well, or a bit of an excuse that I don't actually have any head tracking. So I was just using an 8-way hat.
Wow,
So this is a lot more difficult for me than it is for people with head tracking.
What's that?
I'd presume anyway.
what's happened to your head tracker?
I haven't had
Never
one
had.
forever. I need
Lord.
to buy myself one, to be honest with you.
Ugh, Mine was only $40, and it's lasted me 5 years. Yeah, results. Okay, so this is the point where Bear starts deleting these black boxes so we can see what won. I'm going to have my prediction without looking at the screen. I felt that just like we thought, they were super evenly matched in terms of kinematics. However, especially based on the fact that we were doing high merges, the F-16 definitely has kinematic edge up high, where we noticed the MiG-29 does struggle. So, and I still prefer that gun on the flanker. So I'm going to guess slightly better in terms of guns, slightly, and probably a lot better in terms of hobs, in terms of technology. I'm going to look now, and you haven't done it yet. Right, okay, you sort it out.
There we go. Sorted.
Just sorting it out here. Gun. Wow! Oh no, 9v9. 9v9. How about that? Well, we said they were going to be even matched, didn't we? 9v9. I would not have thought that. And they're such a good match. Such a good match these planes are.
All right, so the sort of conclusion that we came to at the end of it was when it's equally skilled pilots against each other, the MiG-29 has a slight edge over the 16.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a skilled 29 pilot with an average F-16 pilot, the 29 is going to come out on top. I consider Tail to be very skilled.
Mm-hmm.
MiG-29 pilot, he did an exceptional job. He won a lot of the fights, and that on the time. When you bring in an expert dogfighter, he will be able to win in either jet at either time. So evenly matched pilots flying the aircraft are going to, if they're very good dogfighters, very close. For the average person that is flying both of the aircraft, the MiG-29 has a slight advantage for both.
Wow, okay. Well, I got it wrong then. I decided with the F-16 based on what I saw, and I got it wrong. It turns out, and this is good data, this is 39 matches with guys that know what they're doing.
For the no results, it was when both
Right.
pilots had two hobs. Sometimes both hobs missed.
And that's
all
it,
four
yeah.
of them missed, so I didn't count those.
Mhm.
For the guns, there was no fuel, and Penguin hit a telephone line that
Wow.
happened to kill him.
Oh.
Yep.
All right.
We didn't know that that was modeled. Couldn't repeat it, but
No.
I must say that I was very, very surprised over the 29's performance in the hobby match, even though it was lacking, especially off board side. But yeah, if you're like good with like basically splashing out those flares and just throttling back, then you can defeat the AIM-9X, which made me surprised.
that was surprising.
I was going to say, if you're in the average bracket, I think the higher or quicker the fight is, the F-16's got the chance. No, in terms of like getting the kill earlier, the F-16 has got the chance. But the longer the fight drags on, I'd say it leans more towards the MiG-29.
Especially in guns environment, I would say, because then it was able to like always stay on the 6 of the F-16.
Right, guys, I'm really chuffed by that one. That's my favourite so far because they were so equal, and I was really looking forward to that. And we've got some great data now. Next, we'll go on to Hornet versus one of the flankers, probably the J11, because people seem to like it, even though it's the same as the other one, really, in terms of ACM. And that'll be the last in our ACM series. After that, we'll be heading to BVR, where we're going to basically start again. That should be interesting. Any final thoughts on this match before we sign off?
Thank you to all the guys for putting in the time. It was a long session, 3 hours.
It was, yeah.
But it was fun and it was interesting. It opened up my eyes to the MiG-29S. It's actually a really good fun aircraft to fly and well capable.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well done, and we'll see you later.